What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Joe Rogan not happy with Dana White. Joe Rogan might be the longest tenured commentator with the UFC, but at the end of the day, Rogan is a martial artist at heart. It's because of that Rogan isn't too happy with how Dana White has treated Magomed Ankalaev lately. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. During the Joe Rogan Experience Fight Companion with Rogan, Brendan Schaub, Eddie Bravo, and Brian Callen, Rogan shared his honest take on Ankalaev getting a title fight. I'm a big fan of Ankalaev. I think he got a real raw deal, and I think the Jan Blachowicz fight is not his fault because it was a great fight, and I thought he did what he had to do to win. I think you've got to be a purist. I think the best guys have to fight the best, period, and that's Ankalaev, one of the best guys for sure. Before Ankalaev fought Alexander Rakic this past weekend in Abu Dhabi, he told the MMA community that Dana White told him he didn't just need a win, he needed a good win if he wanted to punch his ticket to a title shot. Even though he wound up getting a decision victory over Rakic instead of a highlight reel knockout, Dana did say during the post-fight press conference that he would be next in line for a crack at the title whenever Poatan is ready to return to the octagon in 2025. Alex Pereira gets warned by Magomed Ankalaev. Magomed has been firing shots at Alex Pereira, claiming that he's ducking a fight with him and he'll be the boogeyman to Pereira's light heavyweight run. Magomed posted on Twitter sharing a video of Israel Adesanya knocking out Alex Pereira at UFC 287 with the caption saying, "If this skinny guy can make you sleep, what do you think I can do to you? Please, Dana White, get my next meal ready for me." Kamaru Usman warns Shara Bullet over call-out. Over the weekend, Shara Bullet picked up a highlight reel knockout for the ages against Armen Petrosyan that extended his professional record to 15-0. After the fight, which was his fourth in the UFC, Magomedov called out Israel Adesanya and said that after trying to get a fight with Izzy in kickboxing for years, now he's ready to throw down inside the octagon. During the latest episode of Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo's Pound for Pound podcast, the former welterweight champion warned Magomedov against chasing a fight with the last stylebender.
I know at the end of the fight, he called out Israel Adesanya.
Really?
Slow your roll, buddy.
Woo.
Slow your roll.
Yeah.
Slow your roll.
I think Israel's too basic, and Israel will break his foundation with kicks, dude. Like Israel, when it comes to the basics, the fakes, feints, the distance recognition, like he knows, dude. He knows how to break down a fighter.
Even though Magomedov had one of the best knockouts of the year, it doesn't sound like we'll get to see him and Israel Adesanya throw down inside the octagon. After Magomedov's win on Saturday, Izzy posted a reaction video on YouTube where he laughed off the call-out and told Magomedov to keep his name out of his mouth, a la Will Smith, Chris Rock. Paddy Pimblett gets called out by Ilia Topurias' friend. Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria have had beef for years now and have gone back and forth on more than one occasion, from verbal sparring sessions on social media to a run-in back in 2022 leading up to the UFC Fight Night London card that they were both fighting on. The two have plenty of bad blood thanks to comments that the baddie made about Georgians. At one point, there was even some talk of Topuria making the jump up to lightweight so that the two could fight inside the octagon, but ultimately, nothing came to fruition. After Topuria's victory on Saturday, one of his friends, Guram Kutateladze, called out the baddie on social media, saying that they have unfinished business. "Paddy the baddie, I saw that you're waiting for Ilia Topuria to come up to lightweight and fight him. That sounds unreal. Let's talk about reality. We have unfinished business. I'm in lightweight division. I'm eager to fight you. You don't need any more reasons. You don't have to wait. UFC, put this guy in the cage with me." So far, no word on when the baddie will be back in the octagon, but Kutateladze doesn't have a fight booked after beating Jordan Vucenic back in August, so the UFC could try to capitalize on the beef between the two sides. But given Pimblett is now ranked number 14 at lightweight, he might not want to fight someone who is not ranked. Sean O'Malley breaks silence on leaked DM. Heading into the weekend, Haley Welsh said on her podcast that Sean O'Malley was in her DMs and was both messaging and calling her via Instagram. In the clip, she seemed to have no interest in interacting with O'Malley online, saying that he was a kid. In a new episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, the former champion addressed the situation and cleared the air by sharing his side of the story.
So what happened? I was on Oxycontin. It was the day of my surgery or the next day. So I was on Oxycontin. I was live on Twitch. I was live on Instagram, and I was trying to call people to freestyle, and I'm just up. I'm on Oxycontin. The boys are higher than a kite, and I called Aiden Ross, Steve Will Do. I was calling a bunch of people to freestyle, and they wanted me to. So I found her IG, and I tried to click the little call button, but it didn't go through, so I clicked it a few times. And she's like, he called me like 5 times, which she's not wrong. I did call her like 5 times, but I was trying to get her to freestyle.
Over the weekend, there had also been plenty of talk about O'Malley's next fight after Murabdashvili said that Umar Nurmagomedov was scared and didn't deserve a title fight. Even though he's targeting a rematch against Sugar Sean, Dana White confirmed to media members during the post-fight press conference that Umar Nurmagomedov is the next man in line for a crack at the title. Even if O'Malley isn't next in line for a crack at the belt, his next fight could still be for the title if the UFC winds up booking him for a fight with the winner of the Dvalishvili-Nurmagomedov fight. Aljamain Sterling talks about fighting Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria's wins over Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway this year have led to a bunch of talk about whether anyone on the UFC's roster has what it takes to dethrone the champ. The way Aljamain Sterling sees things, fighters like Volkanovski and Holloway are just trying to strike with El Matador, whereas he would make a fight between the two look like a grappling match.
I beat Mosar, and I do get the crack. I do think I have a great style to neutralize his offense. Cause bro, most of these guys are striking with him. I ain't doing that, bro. I ain't doing that. We sitting there looking for our takedown, and then we're gonna have to make it a grappling match. I'm trying to get the dub. I'm not trying to get my head and my brain sent to the next dimension again. I'm good on that.
On top of the fact that a fight between him and Topuria could see Sterling secure UFC gold in another weight class, he also pointed out that his friend and training partner Murabdashvili is also friends with Ilia Topuria, which would add another interesting element to this fight. He also made it clear on social media that even though he would make a fight against Ilia Topuria a grappling match, he's not just a grappler. Not to intervene too much in you guys' debate, but to say my boxing is comical. Other than a botched rehydration performance against Yan 1, how did you come to this conclusion? After his win on Saturday, the champion made sure to pull the receipts on everyone who doubted him, breaking his silence with a post on Instagram where he wrote, "I said it and I did it. The first to knock him out 16-0 and still undefeated. Thanks to everyone for the support." If Sterling can get through Movsar Evloev at UFC 310, we might have a chance to see him and Ilia Topuria fight for the featherweight title. Tom Aspinall praises Khamzat Chimaev's grappling. The last time fans saw Khamzat Chimaev inside the octagon before Saturday was his fight with Kamaru Usman last year, where he was able to get a win even though he wasn't able to use his grappling to dominate the fight like we've seen him do against past opponents. After them pulling out of his original fight with Robert Whittaker in Saudi Arabia, the two finally had a chance to throw down in a 5-rounder over the weekend, but as it turned out, Chimaev only needed 1 round to get the job done. He looked so dominant that Tom Aspinall said in a video for his YouTube channel that even though he's a champion, he feels like he has some work to do.
What he does, for me as a fighter myself, me as an already established champion, I look at him and I feel like I need to learn more with the grappling. I need to learn more with the attacks. I need to learn more with how to control someone and not let him move and play the game like he does. That was an unbelievable performance, and I think to top it all off, he did it to Robert Whittaker. Like he went out there and schooled Robert Whittaker.
Aspinall said that he wants to see Chimaev fight Dricus du Plessis next, but it sounds like before he gets his chance to fight for the belt, the UFC is going to have DDP fight Sean Strickland in January or February, and then give Boers a fight with the winner, even though many members of the MMA community think that Chimaev's win over Whittaker should make him the #1 contender at 185. Just like Sean O'Malley, he might not be next up for a title fight, but his next fight may very well wind up being for the title. Alexander Volkanovski has no regrets on Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria fights. Alexander the Great Volkanovski's decision to fight Islam Makhachev on short notice might have led to the first knockout loss of his career, but despite that, the former champion doesn't regret taking the fight on short notice, or his decision to make a quick turnaround and fight Ilia Topuria at UFC 298. On Monday, he made an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, where he talked about the situation. "No, I don't regret it. That's who I am. That's what's made me the champion I was. You know, yeah, a lot of people think it's just a bad idea, but I mean, if you look at it going in, that's me challenging myself. Me taking on Islam, obviously the timing thing was there, but the only thing I regret is I wish I was, especially before the Islam one, I just wish I was more prepared. I wish I was training more and in a better position, but I don't regret taking them fights because, as I said, that's just who I've always been. And if I wasn't the guy that would take on them challenges and wouldn't do that, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'd be just another guy here in Wollongong, Illawarra that, you know, maybe still playing the rugby league and at a lower level maybe. You know what I mean? From the sounds of things, Volk is going to have a chance to avenge his loss to Ilia Topuria next year. On top of the UFC bringing him into the cage after Topuria's victory over Max Holloway, Dana White also told media members that he's on board for a rematch between the two. The big question now is whether or not the UFC will be able to hold the fight in a massive stadium in Spain, or whether Topuria will have to wait a little longer before fighting in front of his fans back home. Sean Strickland's nasty text messages get leaked by Chael Sonnen after UFC 308. Chael claims that Strickland texted him shortly after the UFC 308 and wrote, "I'm next in line. It's been said and it's been written. After I beat Dracus up, Chimaev can step up. And to the point that Chimaev is a contender, I welcome that. But I have Dracus next. Chimaev, the man who scammed his fans, became friends with the dictator and had to flee his homeland while staying on the run, needs to tighten his own leash up a little bit. Hey Chimaev, sit down and wait your turn." Khamzat has yet to reply to Strickland, claiming that he'll get the title shot next, and according to Sean, he will take the championship belt before giving Chimaev his chance at UFC Gold. Top comments. People still talking about Conor despite him not fighting for almost 5 years now, and you wonder why the guy is laughing at everyone. He stays more relevant than most active fighters on the roster, simply by trolling on his social media accounts. McGregor is the new Dylan Dennis, doing for attention. It's actually cringy and gives me secondhand embarrassment. Paddy, you're 360 pounds. Topuria is 145 pounds. Oh, and the UFC would never feed you to him. Dana, Francis would have made way more money if he signed with UFC. Also Dana, the PFL are paying Francis way more than he's worth, so more than I would pay him.